Alright guys, time for some more centers, and this time we are doing the sleepers. These are guys who are probably going to go day 3, if they get drafted at all. And I said that this draft was kind of top heavy in terms of centers, and that you had one super duper star, two guys who were good, and then everyone else, it's not that exciting. There are some guys here who caught my attention a little bit, but overall, it's not a great crop of center prospects. And when you look at the center position and you see how relatively low import it is to a team's success compared to other positions, this might not be the right class to address the area. But we do, as I said in my last video, have the opportunity to maybe take a little bit of a project here because we do have Austin Blythe for a year. So one of these guys may very well be a future Seahawk. Let's take a look here. All right. First guy is Donovan West of Arizona State. He's got similar size to Linderbaum, 6'3", just shy of 300 pounds, ran a 5.2740. Couldn't find his other measurables, but he has 33-inch arms. Pretty good, especially for a center, that's fine. PFF thinks he's actually going to be a third-round pick, but Draft Network, ESPN, and CBS all had him in the same area, mid to high fourth. So with Donovan West, you are probably looking at using one of your fourth-round picks on him, and I don't dread that possibility at all. West has played some guard and at the college football level. He's played guard and center. He moves well. He plays pretty well in space. Definitely a good fit for his own scheme. He's powerful against the run. He knows how to use his strength. He knows how to use his mass to create vertical movement when run blocking. He's solid in space. He's a zone scheme fit just overall. And that is one of the key things that I'm looking at with these draft picks, because we need to give Waldron the right kind of players to have a chance to succeed if we're going to make a determination on him. He's got good hands. He knows how to use his hands. He knows how to use the punch. He knows how to use his hands to keep pass rushers at bay. He's strong enough to anchor pretty well. And just overall, I would say he has a high football IQ. He's smart. Knows how to use things like angles. Knows how to use concepts like double teaming. Knows how to do the things that you need to do to succeed in a more cerebral league compared to college football. The issues with Donovan West are his general technique. While there are some areas of it that I think are admirable, like his hands are good, he's good in space, he does have the football IQ to where I think he can pick it up. There are some technique things that break down in terms of like his body control and his balance, and he's could be a little stronger, I think. All right, in a similar boat for me, although probably a little bit lower on the prospect scale, would be Alec Lindstrom of Boston College. I believe his brother was drafted in the first round a few years ago by the Falcons, so he's got football in his blood. 6'3", 296, same as Donovan West. Ran a faster 40, 5.18, pretty good for a center. 7.53 cone, solid. 4.66 20-yard shuttle, very nice. 26.5-inch arms, good enough, more than good enough for the position he plays for sure. The Draft Network really likes him. They think he could be a fourth-round pick. ESPN has him more in the 6th to 7th. CBS actually has him going late 7th to undrafted. Walter Football says 4th through 6th. So Alec Lindstrom is probably like a 5th or 6th round pick if you average it out. That's kind of what I expect for him. The things that you would like about Lindstrom would just be that he's experienced. He played, I think, 4 years at Boston College. He's a great technical run blocker. He's not the strongest, but he knows how to use technique to excel in that area beyond what you would expect from somebody at his strength level. Knows how to use things like leverage and angles. Like I always talk about that stuff, and it does lower your ceiling a little bit when you depend completely on technique, because there are going to be guys who can just overpower you, but Lindstrom's good at that. He has a high football IQ, and he uses it very well in keeping in front of pass rushers. He's able to move laterally to keep in front of pass rushers. He's able to use things like his punch to keep the bull rushers at bay. He's great at the second level if you have him bounce past the line of scrimmage on run plays to throw blocks on linebackers and even defensive backs. He's great at that stuff. So he's a zone scheme fit. He's a fit for what we're trying to do on offense right now with this Waldron zone scheme. So good fit, makes sense. The issues with Lindstrom, he's got a high center of gravity. I know he's not tall, but he does kind of play a little taller than he should, which people get underneath you, and that's not good. He's not that long. His arm length is adequate, but he's not... It is a little bit of a concern, the fact that he lets some people get around him sometimes. His strength is underwhelming, like I said. It is something that I don't think is going to inhibit him as much as you would assume, but it's certainly a consideration. So Alec Lindstrom, maybe a 5th-round pick would be all right. I think we got 1 pick in the 5th. Not a bad idea. I think we can do a little bit better. But if we get down to that 5th-round area and we have an addressed center and we want a project, I think Alec Lindstrom would be pretty good. All right, next up we have Cameron Jurgens, and he is a Nebraska product, 6'3", 303 pounds, a little bit bigger than the last couple guys we looked at. Good 40 time, though, 4.92. That's head-turning a little bit for a center guy who's 300 plus. 33.4-inch arms, so he's got nice length. Not a huge deal at his position, nevertheless. ESPN loves this guy. They think he could be a mid-second round pick. I'm not really buying it. Pretty much every other website has him as a 4th or 5th round pick. I think that's more likely. But Cameron Jurgens, I guess I could see him surprise people and go in day 2. But I think you're looking at a day 3 guy ultimately. Kind of in the same boat as Lindstrom and Donovan West. So he had a lot of experience at Nebraska. Played I think over 3 years worth of starts. He's good at the second level. He's quick in terms of getting the ball out of his hands on the snap and then getting up and getting ready to do whatever it is he's going to do. He's got functional strength. You wouldn't call it great strength, that's for sure. But again, we're doing a zone scheme. When you're in the zone scheme, you're all about being quicker and being smart more than you are just overpowering people. The issues with him are that he's a little bit small, and I know that's kind of weird to say because he's bigger than some of the previous guys we looked at. But he plays, I think, a little smaller, if that makes sense. He's just not really got that strength down, it seems to me. He can get a little impatient at times, and that allows him to make mistakes when trying to engage with defenders. He's not always smooth in space. Like, he does block pretty well at the second level, but when you actually put him on the move on like maybe a screenplay, not always smooth. I think that what you're looking at with Cameron Jurgens is kind of another project, could easily be like another Joey Hunt, but not a bad prospect. Like I said, he's got short arms, but that doesn't really bother me at the center position that much. And interesting prospect to take a look at. Another interesting one to look at is Luke Wattenberg. We know this guy a little bit because he was a Washington Husky. And unlike the last interior offensive lineman we sent to the NFL, he's not so small that I'm completely lacking interest. This guy actually has a little bit of size to him, and if he's there in the 6th or 7th round, which seems possible, I would be kind of interested. 6'4", 299 pounds, pretty full frame, 5.240, 7.45 3-cones, fine. 4.57 20-yard shuttle, pretty nice. 34-inch arms, solid. And you can see that of the places that actually ranked him, it's pretty much 6th round to 7th round to UDFA. So this is a very late pick. But is it worth getting him at all? He's got some positional versatility. Some people think that he'll be able to play guard in the NFL. I feel like he'll need to add a little bit of weight to do that, but he does project to guard, according to some people. He's great on double teams. He's great at recognizing when he needs to double team in the run game. He's strong. Unlike a lot of these guys that we're looking at, he is a little bit stronger than a lot of these guys now. That comes with a little bit of a caveat. You do have to wonder how well he'll fit into the zone scheme because he uses his strength more than his agility. But he is a good second-level blocker. He can peel out to the linebacker level and take on blockers there. He plays well in space. He's got the strength to handle power rushers well. He uses his technique well to handle them. Overall, I would just say he has a good football IQ, a high football IQ. Intrigued by this guy. The issues with the Wattenberg would be his scheme fit. I don't know if he's going to be good in his own scheme. He's just an average athlete, and when you talk about speed rushers, I know he's a center, but when it comes to speedier defenders, he struggles. Okay, so that's one more prospect down. Let's take a look at one last guy here at the center position before we move on. Let's take a look at James Empey. This is a Brigham Young guy, already 25. Might not see an NFL field until he turns like 27, or at least not in a big-time, significant capacity. But this is a guy who you might be able to get in the 7th, maybe UDFA. So let's explore the possibility. 6'4", 303 pounds. Runs a 5.1740. Decent. 32-inch arms, kind of short, but not the worst. Not a big deal at his position, at least. TDN says 6th to 7th. CBS says 6th rounder. Walter Football says 7th to UDFA. So you're probably looking at a late round pick for Empey. He's a solid athlete. Would probably be a good fit in the zone scheme, I think. He's effective as a run blocker because he understands things like technique, angles, and he knows how to leverage his limited strength in a way that allows him to move players vertically sometimes. He's got good technique already. He is somewhat of a finished product, unfortunately and fortunately. Fortunately, it might allow him to play within a year or two, but it also means that his ceiling is kind of low. He can play in space well. He's got good strength. It's not great, but it's good. His length is adequate. The main thing that is holding James Empey back is that he's a Mormon and already did his mission, so he's already 25. And by the time the football season starts, he might be 26. I'm not sure. So you're looking at a guy with very limited upside. Doesn't really have a lot of power. He has strength, but he doesn't have all the power you would want as a run blocker. And he's not a great athlete. He's good, but it's not great. And I think that's really all we can say about some center sleepers. That's all I got for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Who has your attention? Who would you go after? And peace out. Go Hawks.